How much did you prepare for this hunting season?
My cousin Kyle called and said he wanted to come film me. I said, get in the truck, let's go.
When it came to preparation for the 2019 whitetail season, the Fix team had a mixed bag of how they got things done.
I'd say about the same as always. John does the majority of my preparation, but I did, and it paid off. I shot my bow considerably more than I have in the past 3 or 4 years.
Some felt they didn't quite do enough.
Not as much as I should have.
A lot and not enough.
That's my motto, because I show up, everything's there. I don't have to plan.
I really don't have to prepare because he really does have OCD. And even if I do try to help, he always goes back and checks my work.
Some wish they'd done more.
I would say food preparation. I'd like to do more of that in the off-season.
Preparing of your snacks to go into
Preparing
the
of my
blind?
snacks, yes. I'd like to make like a meal.
Now that I understand.
Some did it all.
Put trail cameras out, did some scouting.
Are you supposed to do that?
Yeah, kind of figured out where the deer were.
Just a lot of preparation went into it.
We were all in. My family was all in. I got help from my wife and my daughter.
What he won't tell you is he only prepared 23 out of the 24 hours in the day.
Worked out a little bit.
Oh, I did that too. I didn't work out.
Mike helped me plan a food plot, shot my bow several hundred times. You know, that's it.
Are you supposed to do that too?
Yeah, you're supposed to do that, yeah.
And some just had some good ideas.
Jesse, I consult with him. He's absolute expert.
Just remember, poor planning perpetuates pretty poor performance. That's alliteration for all you kids out there who want to learn a little language arts too.
I might have to plan better this year.
Whitetail Fix is presented by Wildlife Research Center. The 2019 season wasn't going great for anyone named Marsteller come early November.
I was stupid. Should've just shot him walking, but I didn't.
And Jody was no exception to this fate. But on this day, she will get more than she bargained for.
It's the morning of November 1st. And we have had a nice cold front come through. It's about 27 degrees out here, feels like 20. So I've got a few extra layers on. It's November, everybody loves November. So hopefully this cold weather has them on their feet this morning.
It's a nice crisp morning. I'm self-filming in the NTC set.
NTC is short for near tilted cherry, which the tilted cherry is where Jody killed her first big deer, Goliath.
The morning started out slow, then all of a sudden a doe comes running down the hill. By the time I get the camera turned on, she's already past my tree and there's a shooter falling right behind her. I move the camera to my one and only shooting lane, and he's quickly following the doe, so as I'm reaching for my bow, I grunt one time to try to slow him down, and then I have to draw quickly, grunt again, and shoot super quick.
Jody was able to get her hand off the camera and her bow in her hand to get the shot off. The question now is, where did the shot land?
It felt like it was a great shot, but I quickly rolled the footage back and took a look at it, and it looked like it might be a little high and back.
I took a little video off of my monitor of the shot, and I sent it to Mike and talked to him, and we both agreed that the shot looks a little back and high.
After looking at the footage, Mike also felt the shot was a little high and back, but not a terrible shot.
Certainly I felt like opposite side lung for sure, at the worst.
Mike was hunting another set, so Jody would give the deer several hours before asking her brother Scott to help with the track job.
The beginning of the blood trail, there was heavy, heavy blood for at least 200 yards. And we were just kind of laughing, cutting up, following the blood trail, just thinking we're gonna walk right up on this deer.
Because of a good blood trail, Jody was confident they would find the buck. But sometimes nature finds a way to evade you. After hours, then days of searching, even with the help of tracking dogs, Jody would come up empty-handed.
I've covered lots of ground looking for this buck, and he just disappeared.
Yes, it's going to be one of those stories that just never has a final chapter to it.
So my season wasn't quite the average deer season. I got into a lease on some property that under contract that I had to have mowed before the end of October.
Filley is a man who does things his own way, and his ways are fine most of the time. But when extra work piles up and then Mother Nature throws a monkey wrench into your plans with rain and storms, setbacks will happen.
I really didn't get to get out until probably the 4th of November, maybe a couple times in October, but not a whole lot.
Steve may have missed the beginning of the season due to obligations, but according to the Reconics, he didn't miss a lot.
I went between the Breckenridge farm and my home farm and really didn't have anything worth shooting.
That's the thing about hunting whitetail. It's truly a game of patience. Hours upon hours spent throughout the year preparing. And when your season begins, no one knows how long the waiting game may take.
November the 6th, I snuck off of work early and went over and checked my trail camera photos at the Breckenridge farm and noticed that there was a buck that, you know, he looked good, and the way that my season had been going, that was something that I was going to have to shoot.
Steve was pretty excited to finally get in the stand and to have movement on the Reconics. The setting was perfect for him to get his fix.
Well, it's November 9th. We've been in the stand since before daylight, but we've had deer coming in and out about every 30 or 45 minutes. Just had a pretty nice little 2.5, 3-year-old 8-pointer come in behind us. They're getting bigger. Perfect morning. I just wish the wind was a little better, but it's marginal at best. But good thing I've got my estrus in a can by Wildlife Research Center. We've had them 10, 15 yards, so everything's good. The table's set. Let's see what happens. Get my Whitetail Fix right here, Missouri.
Steve has been self-filming and seeing a few bucks in early November, but nothing has been mature enough or close enough for a shot if it was. Now it's November 10th, and Filley has a little help on the camera from his cousin Kyle, who just killed the day before.
We had hunted in a stand that I had actually hung the night before. I was sitting in the stand, getting tired of not seeing anything but little dinks coming through. I picked my grunt tube up and I put it in my mouth, and I grabbed my antlers, or my little rattle deal by Nightingale, and I was just crazy. And Kyle looked at me and says, "What the hell was that?" I said, "Be ready, here they come."
Steve knew between the use of Wildlife Research Golden Estrus and his calls that the odds were good he'd get a shooter in sight. But what he didn't expect was that it would happen so fast.
Big buck, he's coming. That's him.
And I was pulling on Kyle's pant leg and I said, hey, you got to get on him. You got to get on him.
You on him? Yeah.
That.
Smoked him, dude. That's a deer that I've had encounters with on Thursday and Friday. And haven't seen him. Kyle and I hunted yesterday, just seen small bucks. He come up the trail, I said, oh my God, here he comes. I don't know how much footage we got of him, but I'm shaking.
All right, so here's the deal. November the 10th, it's 8:20. I shot a big deer about an hour ago, and cousin Kyle and I are going to do a Jesse Fullwider routine, and we're going to go get some biscuits and gravy and do some celebrating. We're going to start a new trend here.
What's your favorite food?
Look at me. Does it look like I discriminate against food?
Lasagna. I love lasagna.
Pizza.
Yeah, we like pizza too.
Anything Italian.
Pizza.
Is it because you're Italian?
That's a misconception.
I love Mexican food.
Mexican food is my favorite.
Nachos, fajitas, burritos. The hotter the better.
A good barbecue steak with white rice, plantains, and like a lime of wedge, or a wedge of like lemon, you know, so I could put over my rice.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, you were expecting black beans and rice.
Yeah. You had me at plantain.
Fish, deer, steak, meat.
Honestly, fried chicken, mashed potatoes and gravy, and corn is my favorite.
I believe the Chinese came up with pizza.
Really?
I believe so.
Maybe the French?
Somebody.
Might have been the French.
Quoting from Wikipedia, the history of pizza begins in antiquity, when various ancient cultures produced basic flatbreads with several toppings, and the following may be surprising to Ernie. Modern pizza evolved from similar flatbread dishes in Naples, Italy in the 18th or early 19th century. But we're not really here to talk about pizza, and we're not here to talk about biscuits and gravy either. We're here to talk about the buck Steve just tagged with his APA.
I called Mike and Christine, and they were actually up at Chuck's hunting, and I said, hey, I killed a deer. Come help me find it.
I immediately texted Steve back and said, wait, we're gonna come for the recovery. He made a great shot, and I think that deer went about 60 or 70 yards.
And the blood trail was ridiculous.
I think it's safe to say there were lessons learned here this week. No matter how much or how little you prepare, sometimes fate already has the results planned out for you.
Well, it turned out to be a beautiful morning here in northwest Missouri. Had cousin Kyle running the camera, and I've been on this buck for the last 2 or 3 nights. Had to rearrange some camera sets to try to really get in and get on him. Chasing does in the food plot Thursday night, Friday night. Didn't present a shot. So this morning had a few does and a little spike buck come through, and I looked down the trail and he came running up through there and jumped the ditch and got within 20 yards. APA, King Cobra, and the interlock broadheads. Found his mark, perfect center punch. He didn't run 70, 80 yards. Mike and Christine are up in this neck of the woods hunting from Indiana.
Yeah, we just got in here last night and had a good hunt, but not as good as yours.
Right.
Congratulations.
So they volunteered to drop their hunt this morning and come in and help us find it.
Whitetail Fix is presented by Wildlife Research Center.
So since you guys came, you can help drag it out, right?
That's the least we can do. Didn't take much looking at very short, very bloody blood trail.